What makes the NBA so thrilling? It's not just the buzzer beaters or the slam dunks, it's the rivalries that keep us glued to our screens. From all-time greats battling for championships to personal grudges that turned into legendary showdowns, these rivalries have shaped the game and ignited fan passion like nothing else. In today's video, we're diving into the top 10 most heated NBA rivalries of all time. Let's kick things off with two of the greatest power forwards to ever play the game, Kevin Garnett and Tim Duncan. These guys had contrasting styles. Garnett, the trash-talking, high-energy competitor, versus Duncan, the silent, calm, and relentless force. Their rivalry began to heat up during the 1999 NBA playoffs when Garnett taunted Duncan with a Happy Mother's Day comment, a harsh jab considering Duncan's mother passed away when he was young. From that point on, every matchup between the two was intense. Duncan's Spurs often had the edge when it came to team success, and their head-to-head record shows it. Duncan won 33 matchups compared to Garnett's 19. Yet, despite these differences, they both had massive respect for each other's game. Whether it was Duncan's stoic consistency or Garnett's emotional fire, their battles were must-see TV. This rivalry is proof that greatness can take different forms but still be equally impactful. When we talk about NBA rivalries, we can't skip the legendary showdown between Bill Russell and Wilt Chamberlain. These two big men went head-to-head 143 times. No two rivals have faced off more. Russell was all about winning and team play, leading the Celtics to a mind-blowing 11 NBA championships. Chamberlain, on the other hand, was the king of individual stats, dropping 100 points in a single game and dominating the boards like no other. Despite Wilt's incredible numbers, Russell had the upper hand in head-to-head matchups, boasting an 86-57 record against him. Their contrasting styles, Russell's defensive genius versus Wilt's offensive power, made every one of their games a must-watch spectacle in the 60s. This rivalry wasn't just about personal pride. It shaped the league and set a foundation for the modern NBA. This is one of the biggest rivalries of the last decade, and it's still fresh in everyone's mind. LeBron James, arguably the most complete player the league has ever seen, versus Kevin Durant, the ultimate scoring machine with a skill set we've rarely seen in a player of his height. The first major battle between these two took place in the 2012 NBA Finals, when LeBron's Miami Heat faced Durant's Oklahoma City Thunder. LeBron walked away with his first championship, and KD left with a lesson. But the rivalry didn't end there. When Durant made his infamous move to the Warriors in 2016, the stage was set for two more finals matchups against LeBron's Cavaliers. In 2017 and 2018, Durant got his revenge, earning finals MVP honors both times and swinging the finals record in his favor. 2-1. Beyond the stats and rings, this rivalry is a classic clash of legacies and playing styles. Who's the better player? It's a debate that keeps fans on the edge of their seats every time they face off. If you know anything about the Pistons-Bulls battles of the late 80s and early 90s, then you know how intense things got between Michael Jordan and Joe Dumars. The Pistons, known as the Bad Boys, built their defense around stopping MJ, and Dumars was the key player tasked with that job. While the Pistons had rough-and-tumble enforcers like Bill Laimbeer and Dennis Rodman, it was Dumars' cool, focused defense that gave Jordan fits. He was one of the few players Jordan admitted could actually guard him effectively, and those Jordan rules the Pistons developed, they were designed to frustrate and physically wear down Jordan every time he drove to the hoop. After 3 straight years of being eliminated by the Pistons, Jordan finally got his revenge in 1991, sweeping Detroit and never looking back. This rivalry wasn't just two players going at it. It was two contrasting philosophies clashing, with Jordan's finesse and athleticism eventually overcoming the Pistons' physicality. This isn't just a rivalry. It's one of the biggest stories in sports history. Larry Bird and Magic Johnson weren't just competing on the court. They were saving the NBA from fading into obscurity. Their battles began back in college during the 1979 NCAA championship, with Magic's Michigan State team taking down Bird's Indiana State. Fast forward to the NBA, and their rivalry took off as they led the Boston Celtics and Los Angeles Lakers, respectively. They faced off in the finals 3 times in the 1980s, with the Lakers winning 2 out of the 3. But this was about more than just basketball. Bird and Magic represented different styles and personas. Bird, the hard-working, small-town guy, and Magic, the flashy, big-city superstar. Eventually, they found mutual respect and even friendship. They teamed up on the 1992 Dream Team, putting their competitive fire aside to win gold. Their rivalry didn't just elevate their own games, it elevated the entire league. Now, here's a rivalry that's all about intensity, grit, and a bit of bad blood. Russell Westbrook and Patrick Beverley have been at each other's throats since 2013, when Beverley's aggressive play led to Westbrook's knee injury during the playoffs. Since then, every time they meet on the court, it's a physical, trash-talking battle. Westbrook has called out Beverley, saying he's all talk and no substance, while Beverley's fired back with his own jabs about Westbrook's shooting percentages. It's the kind of rivalry that keeps fans tuning in, knowing that sparks will fly and tensions will be high. It's a true throwback to the days when personal grudges made every game a little more electrifying. The Superman rivalry between Shaquille O'Neal and Dwight Howard may have started with a nickname, but it quickly turned into a war of words. Dwight Howard burst onto the scene with the Orlando Magic, the same team where Shaq began his career. Howard's high-flying dunks, shot-blocking, and infectious personality made him a fan favorite. In the 2008 Slam Dunk Contest, Howard donned a Superman cape, a nod to Shaq's long-held moniker. Shaq didn't take kindly to this. He felt Howard was trying to usurp his identity without earning it. In a 2011 interview, Shaq remarked, "If you want to call yourself me, then you've got big shoes to fill." Their rivalry intensified as Howard's career progressed. When Howard joined the Los Angeles Lakers in 2012, a team where Shaq had great success, Shaq criticized the move, questioning whether Howard could handle the pressure. As an analyst, Shaq often belittled Howard's accomplishments, suggesting that other centers were superior. Howard, for his part, expressed respect for Shaq but grew frustrated with the constant comparisons and critiques. Their interactions added drama to their games, even though they played different styles. Shaq's brute force versus Howard's athleticism. In recent years, the tension has cooled. Howard won a championship with the Lakers in 2020, perhaps finally stepping out of Shaq's shadow. Their rivalry highlights the challenges faced by players trying to live up to the legacy of those who came before them. In the late 60s and early 70s, Walt Clyde Frazier and Earl the Pearl Monroe were the best of the best in the backcourt, with Frazier leading the Knicks and Monroe lighting it up for the Bullets. Their matchups were pure magic, and many wondered how these two ball-dominant stars could ever play together. But in 1971, the Knicks made a bold move and traded for Monroe. People doubted it would work, but the duo proved everyone wrong, blending their skills seamlessly to lead the Knicks to the 1973 NBA championship. Their partnership, born from rivalry, became one of the most iconic in NBA history, a story of how two fierce competitors can come together for the greater good. From bros to foes, the rivalry between Kobe Bryant and Shaquille O'Neal is one of the most well-known and talked about in NBA history. As teammates on the Los Angeles Lakers, the duo led the team to 3 consecutive championships from 2000 to 2002. However, their personal relationship was far from smooth. Although they started as great friends, differences emerged, and tension built between the two superstars. The breaking point came after the Lakers lost to the Detroit Pistons in the 2004 NBA Finals, leading Shaq to leave the Lakers for the Miami Heat. Their first showdown as opponents happened on Christmas Day 2004, with Shaq's Heat coming out on top. In 2006, Shaq proved he could win without Kobe by capturing another NBA title with the Heat. Even though their relationship was rocky for years, they eventually reconciled during a 2018 interview where they both agreed to leave the past behind. While their rivalry was fierce, their shared success remains a defining chapter in NBA history. The ultimate NBA rivalry, Jordan versus Thomas, wasn't just about basketball. It was personal. It all started with the infamous freeze-out rumor during the 1985 All-Star Game, where Jordan believed Thomas convinced other players not to pass him the ball. That set the tone for years of animosity. When the Pistons and Bulls faced off in the playoffs, things got ugly. The bad boys played rough, and the Jordan rules were designed to physically and mentally break MJ. For 3 years, the Pistons knocked the Bulls out of the playoffs, fueling Jordan's determination to get stronger and push his team harder. In 1991, Jordan and the Bulls finally swept the Pistons, but not before Thomas and his teammates walked off the court without shaking hands, a moment that Jordan would never forget. The rivalry even extended to the 1992 Dream Team, where many believe Jordan's influence kept Thomas off the roster. Decades later, the bad blood remains, making this rivalry one of the most unforgettable in sports history. Who knew the NBA's history was filled with so many intense rivalries that shaped the game we love today? Which rivalry caught you by surprise? And which one do you think had the biggest impact on basketball history? We'd love to hear your thoughts, so drop a comment below. Tell us which matchup defined basketball for you, or if there's a rivalry that we missed that you think deserves a spot on the list. We can't wait to see what you think.